Hi there, Carpoolers, and welcome to Carpool. Highly stressful journey right into the very heart of the West End of London to pick up today's Carpool guest, who is Martha Lane Fox, the founder of lastminute.com, the great big .com success story of the 1990s. She had an extraordinary life, and there she is. Hello. Very nice to meet you too. Well done. You're all right. Oh no, well done. Sorted out. I did it. I managed to get here.
Well done.
It's not
the easiest place.
Well, I mean, I walk past here every day. You know, it's very easy to walk.
It's very easy to walk, but I spend a lot more time walking than I can't drive anymore. So.
Right. I do minimal research.
Very sensible. Very much a precursor of my entire working life.
Yes, exactly. I just
have an idea.
Dive in.
Instinct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then when I read about your story, because I knew your name very well, and I knew about lastminute.com, and I knew a lot of that area of your life. To be perfectly honest, I did not know about your accident, which was.
Oh my goodness.
I know. How did I miss that out? Because when I started to read, I mean, obviously, it was very widely reported. Because as soon as I kind of found out about it, I went, my goodness, there's a lot of stories about that.
It's quite good when people don't know. Because the taxi driver asked me this morning, "Oh, I've broken your leg," and I said, "I don't often do this, but 28 bones actually, my friend."
Wow.
That's what I broke.
My goodness me. My poor thing. Now, when I read the story, the other thing you do as an annoying parent is I felt so sorry for your mum.
Yes, my mum.
I mean,
honestly,
what an extraordinary thing to have to.
She is a legend. She
Right.
really is. She was in hospital nearly every single day,
Wow.
watching me go from normal person to micro person and then rebuild myself.
Yeah.
But she was amazing, as was my lovely boyfriend and all my amazing friends.
Right.
So that's what's humbling.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what keeps you going. And
Yeah,
down on
hybrid
East
car.
Castle Street is where Lucky Boy's headquarters.
Oh, is it?
based.
And that's your.
That's my
Your charity?
No, that's my crazy karaoke business.
Oh, that's the karaoke business.
We've got 5 venues around the country. We've got Manchester, Cardiff, Brighton, and 2 in London.
Wow.
And this was just a pure copy of the Japanese model of karaoke.
Yeah.
So hire a private room with your friends. Sometimes not much bigger than your lovely Prius.
Right.
Sometimes a bit bigger, and you have a good old sing-song.
Wow.
Because even though I am the worst singer on the planet, it does lift the soul.
Yes, I bet.
It really does.
Yeah.
I can say categorically, having stumbled into my karaoke joint on 2 sticks, morphined up to the eyeballs.
Right.
It's much better than any drugs in terms of pain relief.
Wow. There's also a lot of Americans that watch this that will. I want to say that some of them might not have heard of lastminute.com, but they're all so tech savvy.
Excuse me?
How could they not?
What?
But I mean, it was the sort of, the Google of the UK, wasn't it? I mean, it was this big story at the time. It was a huge.
It was funny though being in it, because we
Must
were
have
just
been,
working incredibly hard.
I'm sure.
And then every now and then I'd go out and people would say, "Oh, you're Martha." Like, how the hell do you know I'm
Yeah.
Martha? But
No,
it
I
was-
mean, you became
meanwhile,
such a
this kind of
figure of
maelstrom
that.
was going on outside the company, when the reality
Right.
of what we were doing every day was not very glamorous at all. Frankly,
No, I'm
it
sure.
was getting people out of the terrible pickles that often the technology had created in terms of their holidays.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time doing customer service and reorganising hotels for people and
Oh, really?
smoothing over all the problems. And I
Which
remember-
actually weren't created by you, presumably.
not always created by us, but
Oh.
we did a pretty good job sometimes. I remember one Boxing Day sitting, re-stuffing airline tickets into envelopes and thinking, is this really what I want to be doing for the rest of my life? But it came out right. But what an amazing journey. I was
Yes, it
very
must have
lucky.
been extraordinary.
Kind of stopped our jobs in about middle of 1997, I think it was.
Right.
Started working on our business plan and raised £600,000, which seemed at that point the most
Just a
extraordinary amount of
colossal
money you could
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
imagine.
Yeah.
And it was. I think it was quite a lot to have raised off a business plan with no business.
Yes.
Particularly at that time where we were spending most of our moments trying to convince people that the internet wasn't about to blow up.
Right.
And
Now, of
that
course,
it was
because
here
that
to
was
stay.
that was the Millennium Bug.
The
all
Millennium
that
Bug
stuff.
was when we launched. That was the next big thing. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's all going to stop.
It's
in
all going to
2000.
blow up.
Yeah. The time I remember it being on like the Today programme was the day of the IPO and all that stuff, which was just
Yes,
breathtaking at that time.
The IPO day was a peculiar day.
It must have been.
We
yeah.
had been, for the 2 weeks previously, we'd been around the US on Mariah Carey's private jet, organised by Morgan Stanley, to get quickly from city to city to go meet analysts and do the sales pitch. And it was full on. We'd be up at 7 in the morning. We'd be doing pitches to analysts till midnight.
Yeah.
And so we had no kind of conscious kind of understanding of all the hype that had been building in the press back here. And we came back 2 days before the IPO. The night before, we were up in the offices in Morgan Stanley in Canary Wharf setting the price. We were up to about 3 in the morning, and then we had to be back in the offices at 6 to deal with the media and all this stuff. And I just remember going to bed and thinking, this is all quite a strange process. And turning up at the office in the morning and there being a bank of TV cameras. And I had the worst hair ever. I hadn't washed my hair, and I had the worst outfit on ever. None of this stuff matters, but I remember thinking, oh dear, I think I misjudged this slightly.
Yes.
And
well, you wouldn't really expect it.
No, and it was quite a strange feeling, and I think both of us, it was a kind of cloudy day, I remember, and in the middle of the day, Brett said, do you want to go for a walk? I was looking at what a friend did, and we just left the building and just burst into tears, not for any other reason than just all of this kind of overwhelming, oh my goodness me, what's going on? It's all a bit scary and confusing, and I'm very tired and all this stuff. And we had a walk around the block and a bit of a sob, and came back and felt better.
Right.
It was a strange day. It was a strange day.
Because what was it? Just remind me what it was valued at initially.
I can't remember the absolute numbers, but the initial float price was £5.35, and we quickly went back down to about £2.80, and then we went back down to about the worst of the internet bubble, 19p. And I remember, did it go slow? Yeah, it went to Thursday, I think. I remember saying to Brent, if it goes to 10p, I think we should both stand on our desks naked and start dancing. But luckily that didn't happen. But I can't remember what that valued the company at, but close to £1 billion. Yes. Which on revenues of, shall we say, less than that was
breathtaking,
pretty
wasn't it?
Unbelievable. But the business was pretty good and
grew.
grew.
And has it come back now? I mean,
we sold the business in 2005 for just under £600 million.
Right.
And it was profitable, and now it's turning over a couple of billion. It's still the biggest travel site in Europe. So.
Wow. I got an email this very morning, from lastminute.com saying, do you want to go to somewhere? And I went, not really today. Not today, really. But I'd love to go. But it was somewhere cool. I can't remember where it was.
It's doing pretty well. And every now and then when people say, I used it, I still find it exciting that people have actually used it.
Yes.
We've probably a bit insane when we've got a lot of customers now.
Yes. No, it is really. Yes. No, you shouldn't be that surprised. Yeah. But so you're not involved with that now in any way at all?
I still meet up with some of the team, and I'm in touch with the guy that runs it. But both Brent and I are not.
Oh, and he's moved on as well. Right.
Which is right and good. Yeah. And actually, the best thing is, I think, if you can stand back and say, you know what, this business doesn't need us to at all. It's much beyond two personalities. And we went to the opening of an envelope because we didn't have any marketing budget, so we just didn't talk about business everywhere, and that kind of built the momentum.
Yes.
And it was true then, and I think it's still a bit true now, that there just weren't very many young women in technology.
No.
So that
showed.
That helped.
Yeah.
I guess that helped.
Yes.
And it meant that we got a lot of very, very cheap publicity.
Yes.
And that thing was extraordinary. It built our brand for nearly no marketing spend.
Yeah.
So that was why we kept at it.
Yes.
But it was, it wasn't always easy.
No, I'm sure. No, I'm sure it wasn't.
It wasn't always easy.
So when did you leave? When did you get out of it then?
At the end of 2003, beginning of 2004.
Right.
Stayed on the board, but I'd left to go and do some other stuff, and that was when I fell out of a car.
Yes.
What a muppet.
I mean, it was
from a virtual crash to a real crash.
Yes, you don't have to go into any detail at all, but just the essential fact was you were in the back of a Jeep in
I was in the
Morocco
front of a car.
Oh, you were in the front of a car, but without a seatbelt on?
Without a seatbelt on, and I came out through the windscreen.
Folks, what were you doing in the front of a car without a seatbelt on? I'm sure you've questioned yourself.
Yes, but somehow when you were on holiday and we were on roads that didn't feel like roads, and it was just
I've done it. God, I've done it exactly the same thing. Yeah.
But the wet roads was what did it.
Right.
And I was extremely lucky in lots of ways, in that if I hadn't had the resources from lastminute.com to get myself out of Morocco on a plane privately, and then get myself into some of the best doctors quickly, I'd be dead. So, you win some, you lose.
Yes. No, it's the oddest thing, isn't it? When I've been in an accident, and all I ever say about it is I was so lucky.
But you have to hold on to the luck part, because otherwise, frankly, every day would be still too incredibly infuriating.
Yes.
I think the thing that every day is a bit of a battle still. But what is the most annoying thing about all of it is having to give over a bit of your brain to coping with logistics, coping with pain, coping with all the other challenges.
Yeah.
Totally smashing your body up.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think in my brain I'm still the same person, but actually my body isn't quite able to be that person.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's a bit of a disconnection.
And I mean,
It's annoying.
You were also extremely young. I mean, you're still extremely young, but you were even younger.
96. It feels like I've slipped over not a hill, but I feel as though every now and then I'm in scenarios of out with some friends this week. Everyone was talking about where they're going to send their children to school and how they're going to get into the school. And I was thinking, how on earth can this have suddenly happened?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It was as though when I was in hospital, the whole country was blanket bombed with babies. All my friends were just having sex the whole time I was in
passionately
hospital.
breeding, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, yes. So we are a heavily computerized family.
How many do you have in the house?
6.
Yes, that's really interesting.
2, I would think at least, but I mean 2 of those are mine. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, there's 6. 6 functioning ones and about 4 dead ones.
But that's the bit that we've got to, I think, try and really capitalise on, is that I think everybody's got a couple of computers that they can probably reconstitute and give to somebody who doesn't have it.
Really, it's a big frustration of mine.
I recently switched from PC to Mac after, nearly 15 years on PC.
Oh, did you really? Oh, that's interesting.
Oh my god, it was totally traumatic.
Yeah.
I've spent a long time really thinking, why am I doing this? I know everyone loves Macs, I can't bear it, I hate it.
Right.
I've yet to fall in love with it. I love my iPhone, I love my iPod.
Yeah.
I don't like my Mac.
Yeah, right.
I miss the PC.
What
does that mean? Like
don't not at all.
I would super geek.
No, because you are by the vast majority, aren't you? I mean, statistically, people who use Mac, who use Windows,
yes,
90. Still, think it's about 94%.
I just want to put Windows on my Mac. That might help.
But yeah, you can do that, can't you? Yeah.
Pick it up. Something is just not quite there, but maybe it's just
right.
It's really reminded me because I'm doing all this work now, trying to think about how to make sure we don't create a subclass of people we are creating them, but trying to carry along more people who understand digital technologies, and all of the stuff, the projects I've visited and the people that I've talked to say interesting things that you wouldn't necessarily expect about how they use a computer when they first see it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really stuck with me that a few people have said to me is, why do you press the start button to turn a computer off?
On a Windows machine.
Yeah.
Not on a Mac.
No. But it's that kind of thing that you think, okay, that's really interesting because you're so used to it.
Yeah.
But then they think, well, the whole computer must be upside down because you press the start button, which actually, of course, it isn't.
No, but that is. I have to say that is because I can't. If I sit in front of a Windows machine that hasn't got, say, a document open, I don't know what to do. I just because I went from an Amstrad PCW. Do you remember those?
Yes, nice.
The ones that melted your eyeballs.
Very beautiful.
Lovely, beautiful machine, very efficient. It never went wrong, actually, to give it its due. But I went from that to a Mac, so I've never used a PC, and it is so weird. And I only went to a Mac because of the fact the writers of Red Dwarf, that's what they used, and they showed me theirs, and I went, oh, that's good because it doesn't hurt your eyeballs, and it looks like a piece of paper. At that time, black and white, but it had black type on white paper, which I'd never seen before. It looked really posh.
Woo.
It was a breakthrough. WYSIWYG. Remember the one that was like an important thing?
Yes, exactly. I'm on the board of Marks and Spencer.
Oh, are you?
So I have now a renewed interest and vigour in going shopping.
Yes.
It's a good excuse.
Well, I don't want to admit that I do occasionally use Marks and Spencer's for some things.
Very good, of course.
I like it.
It's brilliant. It's the best shop in the world.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And it's so much fun being on the board. It feels like a real privilege. People talk to me about M&S with more passion than practically anything else that I've ever been involved in. Why have you changed the bra sizes? Why have you done this to the knickers? I'm not actually sure the non-execs aren't really responsible for the underwear sizes.
Yes.
But it's great. I love that kind of complicated relationship it has with the British psyche. It's brilliant.
But then I'm fascinated how you got to even start doing what you're doing. I mean, I've genuinely done zero research about your background, but I mean, you presumably you were clever at school, went to university.
Went to university,
blah, blah, blah.
did ancient Greek and
did you?
Ancient history, as you do. And then when I left university, I thought, well, what now? What? And I wanted to do one of 3 things. Firstly, be an actress. Wasn't good enough, as was actually determined at about 12, but I had to let go of it finally. Secondly, be a prison governor. I've always been interested in criminal justice, and I thought I'll go into the Home Office and I'll get into the Justice Department and I'll go and work in the prison system.
Wow.
Obviously that was just bonkers, so I didn't do that. And then I met a friend of a friend who ran what I thought was a production company, but it wasn't. It was a strategic consulting company.
Right.
And it was very formative part of my life. They gave me a job, they gave me a chance. They were doing projects just in media and telecoms
Right.
for all over the world, for people looking at the kind of how new technologies were going to affect their business. So
Right.
one of the first projects I was involved in was for BT, and it was called What is the Internet?
Right.
And it was great because
I
I
heard
come
about
from this
that, yeah.
incredible academic background, and suddenly here's a world of clever people who are doing commercial stuff.
Yeah.
And it sounds a bit ridiculous, but it really did open my eyes
Yeah.
that there was a whole world out there that I hadn't really kind of understood. And it was where I met Brent, and I went all over
Right.
the world and I did all these amazing things.
Since you've recovered from your accident, or I mean, you're presumably it's a
Getting there.
long
Yeah,
process.
well, it just goes on.
Yeah. But then you've because all the new projects you've set up. I mean, you're really bloody clever. It's quite annoying
I'm
actually
really
for
not.
an average mortal like
No,
me.
I'm really not. I think I'm just totally flippant. So I love Japan, and I thought, I don't understand why no one's done Japanese carry
Yeah.
style here. So some friends said, come on, just do it. So we got together and started Lucky Voice in 2004, just before I had the accident.
Right.
And then post-accident, I thought, well, I can't work now as I thought I was going to be able to work. So I started my foundation because I thought I'd made all this money, I should give some of it away,
Right.
frankly. And so I set up Antigone, based on one of my favourite classical
Of course, you
heroines,
knew
who
all
stood
about
for
her.
real justice.
Right.
And we've given some money to some fantastic projects. They've
Right.
been really amazing. Started doing this non-exec stuff, and then got offered the chance to do this quite insane and scary project for the government earlier this year.
Right.
So
So that's what you're doing. And would that be what you're doing now? This is a digital inclusion office.
that's right.
Good,
I
okay,
am
right.
the champion for digital inclusion,
Yes.
which is the most ridiculous title. The world of digital inclusion is broadly trying to make sure that the people that are not online have both the access, the skills, the
Yeah.
motivation, the training. There are lots of people doing amazing projects. There are private companies, public sector organisations, charities. My particular role was asked to look at the most economically disadvantaged people,
Right.
and how some of their issues could be eased by use of technology.
Yeah.
So how could employment opportunities get better?
Yes.
How could education be helped? All of these kind of things.
In a typical wishy-washy, wet liberal middle class way, I'd never even thought about it. And as soon as I thought about it, it just hits you in the face. You know, the advantages that the most basic internet access has given me and my family.
On average,
You know.
people save £570 a year when
Is
they're
that right?
online.
Wow.
So therefore, by not helping the most economically disadvantaged people,
Yeah.
that's just all wrong. That's
Yes.
all just all wrong.
Yeah.
Quite apart from the interaction with government services, 80% of government interactions are with the bottom 20%. If you had to cut
Right,
it
I see.
economically.
Yes, yeah.
So I believe passionately that if you can help those people use government services online, you can cut a lot of cost out of that government service.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
nothing else.
Yes.
And paper, as you say, all the benefits that we've
Yeah.
just become used to.
Yes.
And it's interesting you say that you haven't really thought about it, because that's my perception, and that's what I hope as a team, if nothing else, we can get out the message,
Yeah.
talk about it in the mainstream media, remind people that it is very important. We don't want to create a subclass of people that
No.
are digitally disabled.
No. Yes. Good term.
So, yes, well, as a registered disabled person, I can say that. But
Yes, you're
you've
allowed
got
to.
to be a bit careful about talking about digitally disabled people, I reckon. Well, one of the things I want to try and do is start challenging the nation to try and help get as many people online by 2012 as possible.
Right.
And all the projects I've been doing, it's when somebody sits down with you, or this kind of peer-to-peer training, that's what works. You want
Right.
somebody who's understands technology and has had a good experience to sit down and spend time
Yes.
training you. So I want to encourage people to go out there and volunteer and train people.
And teach people, yeah.
Teach people and spread the skills and share,
Yes.
share all the things that they know about technology.
Both my children also. That's the awful thing, is when you find your 13-year-old daughter in front of the telly with a laptop and the
That's
phone, doing all
yeah.
three at once.
That's the difference, isn't it? They are proper multimedia. Proper multimedia.
It can cause some stress with an old-fashioned father. It's not right.
What do you think is suffering though? Do you feel like
Well,
her brain is in a different, not as concentrated and engaged,
Yeah.
which matters because...
Damn you.
No, but does
Bastard.
she not sit down and read a book? Because
Yeah, she still reads a book. Well, sometimes she'll also have a book there, so that when there's adverts on the television, she reads her book. She has taken it to quite an extreme limit. We
Yeah,
did.
but that's interesting, isn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
But I think this is kind of universal now, that kids are kind of doing 2 or 3 things at the same time.
Yes.
People talk about it as though it's a problem, but
I don't know
I'm not
if it
clear
is.
about
I'm not
what is
convinced
the
it's a problem,
development
but
that's
I'm
not
worried,
happening.
because of my own experience of even on one computer where I'm writing something, but there's also Twitter going on and there's emails coming in, and there's I need to look that up in relation to what I'm writing, and it might be a generational thing, because
You think you don't do as good at a job?
No, I do. I think my writing's improved.
Yeah.
Annoyingly. So there's no argument, but I sometimes walk away feeling quite sort of battered by it. I'm not going, God, I can't think, what have I just been doing? You know, there's so many different things.
It's interesting, isn't it? I did a bit of a talk with Susan Greenfield, you know, the neuroscientist.
Oh, yes.
At the Royal Institute. And she's been coming out recently saying video games, Twitter, electronic stuff is rotting children's brains. I mean, that's extreme. Excuse me, Susan, that's a bit of an extreme characterisation. And
but basically implying that it's not that good.
Implying that technology is not that good.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite dangerous not to be very, very specific about all of this stuff.
Yes.
And that actually, okay, so maybe developmental things are happening in a different way, or, you know, you're not sitting down and concentrating and progressing your brain in the way that 25 years ago they did, but maybe you're learning a whole new different skills, and, you know, you're rapidly managing to process information, you're extremely flexible in how you kind of have to approach things. I'm not convinced it's all bad at all and stuff like that. You know what, I think you want to go up there.
For Aldwych?
Yeah.
You're right!
So, now we're going the wrong way. Oh!
Sorry, I was going because I thought, that's
totally fine.
We'll get round. No, I'm very sorry. That's very good that you pointed that out. I will leave that bit in, because that'll be a laugh.
Why can't Barack Obama be our Prime Minister?
Oh, but I mean, I think there's a lot of my American friends, there's a lot of, you know, he hasn't done.
But he has done tons.
He has done tons.
I rebel against this.
Okay,
I think
fair
this
enough.
is a terrible. Come on, everybody who has a liberal instinct has a duty to support him.
Oh God, I mean,
And this nonsense coming from America, he hasn't done all this stuff. He's been in office for whatever it is, 6 months. He's promised, he's got out of Iraq, he's shut down nuclear bases, he's closing Guantanamo, he's charging ahead with healthcare, he's talking to Iran, he's talked to Cuba, he's, you know, he's trying to do the right thing.
Yes.
As well as encouraging the arts and sciences. Had astronomy nights in the White House. I'm totally Obama brainwashed.
Right, good.
I had the opportunity to meet him when he came to London.
No.
Yep, it's true.
Oh.
You can touch me again.
You have met.
It was the best moment of my entire life.
Wow, you lucky thing. That is good. No, keep, milk it. Yeah, boyfriend can just.
Yeah, it's a bit tough for Chris because he now lives in a house with a woman who is in love with another man.
I'm not at all surprised.
But never mind. He's amazing, and he does have that extraordinary charisma. We come at him. Well, I've read all his books and stuff, so I come at it knowing so much about him, I guess. But he's a decent man, and he went round at the end of the evening, not watched by anybody, not in view of anyone, just thanking all the staff and the policemen, and you know, didn't have to do that. He was exhausted. We could just have left.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Wow.
It was brilliant.
No, I mean, it was a difficult, emotional moment for me to explain to my daughter why I was crying when he talked. You know, it still brings it up.
Did she not understand?
Well, she couldn't work it out because I was crying watching telly, watching some bloke talk. You know, and then I explained who he was.
Mean something
well,
to her?
I think at the end of it, she started to register. She was only young. I mean,
I know,
12, but it was. You know, she just didn't get it because I said, look, this is a huge change. I mean, the fact that this man is the president of the most powerful country in the world is just bloody extraordinary. You know.
And he's come from, you know. I urge you to read Dreams from My Father.
Yeah, I haven't read that. No, I ought to. Is it? Right.
He's really an incredible writer.
Yeah.
I think it's just an extraordinary testament to have that documented by the most powerful man in the world.
Yeah.
You know, to have that backstory written down in his own words.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm a big fan.
No, that's good. But you're absolutely right. Absolutely, regardless of party politics, if there was someone in British politics with that,
feels so broken. No, people want to talk about issues rather than individuals. You can't lump together everything from the environment to the economy to education. It's just not possible. That's why I'm really interested in how technology can break that down and how technology can reinvent.
But I mean, that was what I think was highlighted in that programme last night, was the way that the clique and the club and the exclusivity of the British ruling class is encouraged through its institutions. I mean, that was basically what it was implying, and I mean, it's bloody true. And I've always been aware of it.
And
it's
loads of institutions. The BBC is another one, isn't it? The BBC, the Civil Service, all these institutions.
The Foreign Office.
Yeah.
Well, there was that great book which was 90% nonsense,
The
but
Church.
I can't remember when it came out in. I think pre the '97 election. The Oxbridge Conspiracy. I don't know if you read it.
I haven't read it, no.
You ought to dig it out. I think
I
'cause
will.
you'd have a different insight to it. And I, having
We're going to
yes,
this corner.
we're going to this corner. But having
Thank you, driver.
That's right. That's very good. You've been very charming, miss. You know, it was 90% nonsense. You know, as in there isn't a conspiracy. But that 10%.
They're still the most powerful people in the country.
The BBC, you know, that's the one I know. The top of the BBC. There are no exceptions. None. It is 100% white male Oxbridge. There is no one else. You know, there's plenty of all sorts of people employed in lower areas. You know, women and black people and Chinese people. And we've got
Some disabled people.
Some disabled people, and there's even blind people here, and all that stuff. And then you look at who actually controls it.
It's
There's no exception.
Again, it's like, you know, I'm certainly not a kind of rabid, the whole world should be ruled by women. But I read a stat the other day that said that 63% of the FTSE 250 companies have no women non-execs.
Wow.
None.
Wow.
63. That is unacceptable.
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking we should reverse the world, but there should be a balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Half and half.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely agree.
There we are.
I grew up in an era of feminism. I want women to be in control.
You'll just have a reflection.
Or be the same. No, I don't want women to be. I want women to be
Equal.
equal. Yeah, it's
That's
just
it.
the most absurd nonsense that you're not. But you are a brilliant exception. And
Well, no, just...
if I had a hat, I'd take it off to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You've been really
It's been
kind.
delightful.
I'm glad-
I like
yes.
the nearly detour.
Yes.
got there.
You got a bit
We got
lost.
there. We got
Very sorry
there.
about that.
Very nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Very nice to meet you too.
And
And
go
good
to
luck
Lucky
with it.
Boys. Have a sing-song.
I'm going to go. I am. I'm going to go to Lucky
The
Boys.
traffic gets to you. Go
Yeah.
to Lucky Boys. Bye.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
I had no interest in music, absolutely
Really?
none.
Wow.
That was my big rebellion. I was a jock, I played loads of sports, loved computer games,
Wow.
but music wouldn't have anything to do with it.
That is extraordinary, isn't it? Because when you think of
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I saw your dad in 1972
Yeah,
in Oxford.
yeah.
And you know, it was a game changer for me. I mean,
Yeah.
but he was. You would not classify your father as a jock.
No,
You could classify him as many different things,
not a jock.
but not a jock.